Chasing After a Ghost, Part 2. He was an enigma that I could not put my head around. It was so easy for me to figure people out and what makes them tick, but I felt short when it came to him. On the outside, he seemed cool and calm, perfectly collected. But on that night, he emitted such passion that threatened to burn my skin. I felt uneasy when I was around him, which it takes a lot for me to get uneasy. He lived with his cousin in a house in the part of the city which is quieter. It was a small little cottage surrounded by lots of greenery. I found it strangely beautiful, though. He met me at the gate as he had promised to, and it was covered in multiple substances. Paint and what looked like mud, but he still managed to pull off the look. "Pete, it's nice to see you again. How are you doing?" he smiled. "I'm good, man. Surviving. And you?" I asked him. "The earth is still turning, so I'm good. Please, come in." I would shake your hand, but as you can see, I've been doing some crafts today. He chuckled as he left. I scolded myself for not following my own plan. I was just going to give him the ring and get as far away as I could. But that thought process was cut by me wanting to find out more about this feeling he gave me. We entered and I saw his cousin who helped me find him in the first place. "Hi, I'm Gabrielle. You must be Pete. It's nice to meet you," she grinned as she shook my hand. She was the opposite of Sean, and I could tell that she was the more outgoing one right off the bat. Speaking of Sean, I had no idea where he had disappeared to. "Please, take a seat," she smiled, and I complied. The house looked like it was in the middle of being decorated. A more modern style had been juxtaposed with a more quirky artistic style, and somehow they went well together. "Thanks, you have a beautiful home," I said. "Oh, we're currently fighting over the house decoration. It was our grandma's house." "He?" she asked. "Sure." "Where has he gone?" I asked. "Probably to change," she said as she went to the kitchen. Sure enough, he emerged a few minutes later in cleaner clothes. We looked at each other for a few seconds and did not say anything. He came to sit beside me, causing me to catch a whiff of his scent, which was very unique and not too musky. "All right, here's the ring," I said, taking out a little box, in which I had stored it as to not get it lost. "Thank you, it was my grandmother's. I know my hands are kind of small. I think it's genetic," he smiled. "Better small hands than a big nose like mine. Genetics suck," I laughed. "I like your nose. It's very strong," he smiled slightly. "And here's your tea," Gabrielle said as she handed me a cup to me. But somehow, my hands did not grip the cup properly, and the next thing I knew, I felt hot liquid on me. I jumped up and removed my shirt immediately. "Oh my god, are you okay? It's all my fault," she exclaimed. "No, do not worry about it. I'm okay. I got my shirt off before the tea did much damage," I said. "Come with me. I think I have something that would fit you," Sean said. "Thanks, man," I said as I followed him to his room. He went straight to the wardrobe and started to look through his clothes. "Did you get badly burned? If so, you need to run some cold water over the affected area," he said. "Oh no, please do not worry that much about me. It stings a little, but I am fine," I responded. He said, as he made his way to me. Then he touched me on my stomach, which was not what I expected. His sudden actions caused that familiar feeling to stir up within me. He traced up and down my stomach, and I could do nothing but hold my breath and hope that he could not hear how fast my heart was beating. To be honest, every time that I was around him, I had trouble controlling my thoughts. It was like I knew him, or knew his body, if that makes any sense. Either way, I wanted to get to the bottom of it. No one else had made me feel like he did, and I wanted more. Every night, I would toy with the idea of doing what he did to me that night, and seeing if I still felt the same pleasure, but I was too much of a coward anyways. "What are you doing?" I asked tentatively, when he stepped away from me. "I need to apply a balm on you, but you're okay," he smiled. Gosh, he was going to get close to me again, and I would have to bear the torture and blessing of having him so close to me. "You do not have to. It came out harsher than I wanted to, and it took a step away from me as if it stung." "I'm sorry, I did not mean to snap," I said as I turned away from him. "No, it's okay if you do not want anything," he smiled slightly. He did not understand. This need for him was driving me insane. "Do you feel it too?" I found myself saying. "Yes," he replied. "I've not felt this way before. I know I said I'm straight, but I do not know anymore." "You'll figure it out. You just have to be truly honest with yourself." His words were all that I needed to turn around and kiss him. He kissed me back with just as much passion. It amazed me that so much passion lay deep inside of a person who always seemed so calm. Not to say that I did not enjoy him tugging at my hair as he kissed me hard. My hands moved on their own as I unbuttoned his shirt and threw it somewhere on the floor. We clumsily fell onto the bed and I could not help laughing along with him. I gave in to my desires, not even thinking of anything else but him. I wanted his body, and so I took him, and when I reached the climax, the feeling was unlike anything that I had ever experienced before. It was a high. Moments later, we were lying next to each other, and we were barely breathing. My body still trembled from the aftermath of what we had done. Wow, that was awesome, I said. It was a nice surprise. I want to keep it going. Don't know if I'm straight, gay, bi, or I feel something for you. I'm sexually attracted to you, I confessed. I understand where you're coming from. I want to explore and experiment with you until you figure it out. And you understand that I will be purely physical, I asked. Yes, I understand, he said. So then we sealed it. I was confused about my identity, and he was willing to help me out. This was one of the things which I grew to like about him, his selflessness. He was unlike any other that I had ever met. So then we continued to sleep together, occasionally. I found that the feeling I got when I was with him did not go away, it merely intensified. I could not get away from him, for he was just like a drug to me. I visited him for up to 3 days weekly, and during that time, we explored each other's bodies and minds. And to be honest, he had a brilliant mind and never failed to leave me in awe. He had a way of looking at the world through rose-colored glasses with the innocence of a child, which many people did not have anymore. And I guess I wanted to protect him with my life all the time. We ended up in a weird situation of being best friends and lovers at the same time. But we were not official. It had been playing on my mind for a while, but there was more to us than what we were willing to admit. I did not want to complicate things, and I was still figuring out who I was, but I liked the person that I was when I was with him. I stopped being logical and trying to make sense of everything and just focused on being alive. One day, I asked him why he was not on social media. Do you have an aversion to technology or something? I asked him. Oh no, I just try to filter the information that I take in daily, he said. How so? Don't you get lonely? I asked. If I get lonely, then I have you, don't I? He smirked. And what if you did not have me? I would be very miserable indeed. His eyes looked so solemn. I wondered how he was really feeling deep inside. Then he started laughing at me. What? You overthink too much, and believe it or not, so do I. This is why I end up limiting my interaction on social media. I still keep myself up to date with the latest news. I cannot be completely isolated. How come you were at the party? It does not seem like you're seen, I asked. Wow, you're asking so many questions today. I had just moved into town and Gabrielle pretty much forced me to come along with her. But I'm glad that I went, cause then I met you, he smiled. Me too, I kissed him on the cheek. I was in pure bliss whenever I was around him. He swore that I excited him, but for me, he made me slow down and be calmer, which I needed sometimes since I was always worrying about the future and weighing opinions against each other. Just like I had been doing with regard to him the past few days. I wanted to be more than friends, or lovers with him. I could not deny that I was falling for the guy. He brought much needed peace to my life. You have that look again. What will it take you to stop overthinking? He rolled his eyes. He always kept his cool, but even when he showed any other emotion, he was just so cute. Not overthinking. You're seeing things, I protested. Liar, he laughed. I suddenly kissed him on the lips, partly because I wanted him and because I wanted him to drop the issue. I had not told anyone about what was going on between Sean and me, because I needed to figure out my sexuality out, and having other people involved would be complicated. But my friends started to notice that I had someone in my life. Sam was the most observant one who called me out for it one day. You're in love, he said. What? You've been texting someone ever since you got here. Who's this girl who's making you smile? He asked. Sean had started to text me more frequently lately because he was trying to be open to the internet, even though he was always sending me the wrong emojis. I found it cute and could not stop texting him, which had now led me to be caught by my best friend. Sam, you're being ridiculous. I'm not in love with anyone. But you have a love interest, do you not? Did you finally find the blonde girl? He asked. No. Yes, well, sort of. I think I'm falling for someone, I confessed. Well then, tell them how you feel. This is so unlike you. You usually say exactly what you want, Sam said. He was right. I was not going to cower and hide my feelings. All my life, I had beliefs that I clung to so much that they stopped me from developing. Luckily, I had met Sean, who taught me to let go of what I thought I knew for a while, and just live. I knew then that I needed to tell him that this was not purely physical anymore, and there were romantic feelings involved. You're right, I will tell them, I smiled. I wanted to do something special for when I confessed to him, but I knew that he did not like stuff that was too much. It overwhelmed him, apparently. So then, I decided to plan a small dinner at my place that would be romantic yet private. I was nervous as I prepared the food, and my only hope was that he would like it, and he did. He could not stop raving about how good my food tasted, and to be honest, I could not help glowing a bit when he said that. Thank you, it's my mom's recipe, I smiled. So why did you do all this? Are you going to tell me that you cannot do this anymore and you're trying to soften the blow? His eyebrows furrowed a bit. Oh no, why would you think that? I started to giggle. But you are nervous. What is it? He asked. I like you. I like you too. I really like you. Like I have romantic feelings towards you, I said. I know. I wanted to tell you, but I was not sure if you were ready for the next step in our relationship yet, he shrugged. You are too kind to me. Thank you for being patient with me. I know that our arrangement in the beginning was a risk for you. Why did you agree to explore it with me, though? I guess that I just wanted to be around you no matter what. I knew there was something about you ever since the first day that we met, he said. Gosh, I do not deserve you. I held his hand. Will you be my boyfriend? He asked me. Yes, Sean, I will be your boyfriend. I beamed. I made my way over to him because it would be a bit awkward for us to kiss over the table. I kissed him as my boyfriend for the first time, and I was so content. The feeling of something missing that I had felt in my past relationships was not even there anymore. It felt right to be with him on that night. We cuddled and fell asleep while talking to each other in the living room. I could never get bored of talking to him or just being in his arms, enjoying his presence. We dated for a while and it was low-key, but I felt as if I did not want to hide the man that I was in love with. Things were a bit better and people are more open to accepting queer couples, and I knew that my friends had my back. They were all very happy for me and Sean, and soon they became his friends too. My father passed away when I was younger, so I only had my mother and my siblings. My mom was very understanding, and she told me that she just wanted me to be happy. I did not have much faith in her accepting us due to her being of the older generation, but she told me that it did not matter who I loved as long as it was pure. Which I was glad about because I really value my family's opinion more than anything else. Our relationship developed further at a slower pace as I also began to get to know myself. He was with me in every step of the way, when I was confused about anything or not feeling so confident in myself. We had a symbiotic relationship where one would take care of the other in their moment of weakness, which was what I had been searching for all my life. After about a year of dating, I moved in with him at the cottage. I got along well with his cousin, and she often helped me out when he did not want to be social. He still hated technology, and I still thought too much. Sometimes we would have fights because we were quite different in some aspects of our personalities, but that just made us stronger as a couple. One of the things I liked doing was watching him make stuff with his hands, which he would then sell, and despite all the hard work that he did, his hand remained delicate due to his commitment to natural soaps, etc. We were a bit of an odd pair, who met in a very strange way, and that was the best night of my life. He was the missing piece that I had been searching for all my life, but when I found him, I also found myself, in the way that I found part of myself that I had not wanted to accept, and then he made me see myself for who I am. What I learned is that no matter how messed up or weird you think you may be, there is someone for you out there. You will not be alone forever. Failed relationships do not mean that you're bad at love. Maybe you just need to change where you're looking. Every day, the one for me proves to me that he was worth the wait, and the pain of struggling to figure out why I could not connect with anyone. The end. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become part of our Rainbow Force and stay wholesome.